New month, new theme, and sometimes these themes come and I don't know what's going to come. And I'm like, harvest, okay, yeah, sure, fall. This feels a little loud. Jamie, just a smidge? Thank you. But in the last couple of days, as we came upon, the year anniversary of Sheri and I starting here, on the heels of having our very first community forum on visioning on Sunday, then there's a lot to think about, and a lot to pay attention to and really consider when we look back at what is it that we're harvesting based on the choices and the seeds that we were planting and cultivating all year long. So going back to that quote from meditation from Rhonda Byrne, The Secret, the Law of Attraction lady, your thoughts are seeds and the harvest you reap will depend on the seeds you plant. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, whether it is, in a garden, you plant carrot seeds, you're going to get carrots. You plant peppers, you're going to get peppers. You plant eggplant, you're not going to get squash, right? Unless maybe there's a volunteer or something like that happens, right? But generally, what you plant, there's some kind of code in there that is going to turn it into what it's supposed to be. And it's not going to become something else. Well, yes, and then there are those seeds that grow through concrete and asphalt with that determination and fortitude, right? So yes, 100%, and because the universe is a yes and kind of place. So same with your thoughts, same with your feelings, same with your choices, same with your actions. Those are all seeds that end up becoming something that you cultivate, whether you know it or not, right? Because it's been said that 95% of the time we're going through our day not really thinking consciously about what it is we're doing. About 5% of the day we are really dialed in to whatever it is that we're focused on. But 95% of the time we're going by rote. We're just kind of cruising along based on things that we've experienced, things that we've thought, the memories that we have, what's in the collective consciousness. And we're doing so and we're not aware of it. So when we are taking a look at what it is that we're harvesting, we get to really consider, is this what I want to be harvesting? And if it's not, maybe I got to go and take a look at the seeds that I was planting. Maybe I need to take a look at the way I was cultivating those seeds. Was it with love, or was it just like sort of leaving it, up to chance? And there is no chance. So as we talked about, just a few minutes ago, it's the 1-year anniversary that Sheri and I are celebrating of being co-leads at VTC. And so it fell around this time that we did this very, very first visioning forum on Sunday. And it was a really, really interesting experience because the first half was a visioning. So this wasn't about visualizing. It wasn't about having an idea of what VTC should and could be in mind. It was about letting go of everything, sort of opening up to no thingness, and just opening up to what wanted to come through. Intuitive knowing, wisdom, the infinite potentiality of the quantum field, all of those possibilities that VTC could be, what is it that wants to happen here? And then for the second half, it was more of a discussion. And the questions that we were considering were, who are we? What do we do? How do we do it? And why do we do it? And so almost everybody was offering their responses of, this is what I think, this is what I feel, this is why I'm here, this is what I appreciate about VTC. For those of you who are members, there's a membership form that you filled out, and there were some questions on there where you got to say, this is why I wanted to become a member, this is what my life has, changed like since I became a member, and this is what I would like to see more of. So it was kind of like that, but we really wanted to get clear on what is it that we're doing here? Like, who are we really as a community? And one of the things that came up was, it's kind of hard to express sometimes what it is that we do, even who it is that we are. Like, we feel good when we come here. So many people wrote when we did some market research that they come in feeling tired, that they feel rushed, that they feel distracted, and then they leave feeling uplifted, energized, connected, inspired, like they want to do more meditation. And so what is it that happens here? Why do people end up walking out feeling better than they did coming in? Well, sometimes it's kind of hard to pinpoint. Yes, on Wednesdays, there's amazing music. Yes, there's meditation. Yes, there's a talk. Yes, there's ways to connect. Maybe it's some of it. Maybe it's part of it. Maybe it's all of it. But there's so many different ways that we can be inspired. And on Wednesday, the tagline there, expand your mind, open your heart, activate your soul. That's what I really want for all of us every single time we get together, so that it amplifies the work that we're doing ourselves on our own, at home, in between. So in the forum, there was this discussion that was happening, and as these questions were being asked, we sort of went around, and then there was the final question of why do we do this? And just as the mic was coming to almost the last person, someone took it and then shared an experience that they had just had while the rest of us were talking about why do we do this? And what ended up happening for this individual was they were listening to some of the responses that were being given, and were finding that they were sort of starting to feel a little like prickly and nerpy at some of the responses that were being given. And one of the things that this person was thinking was, where's the challenge? Like, where's being challenged? Where's being sort of like stretched and pulled? Where's that? And so in an effort to kind of like shake off what was going on inside, this person ended up walking outside. And as soon as that person opened the door, there in front of this individual, lying on the sidewalk, was a young man that was almost unconscious, had a bike laying beside him with a garbage bag or something with some stuff in there. And so this individual from VTC went and sat with this person and just was there for this individual as this person regained consciousness, as this person was able to talk a little bit, and the person from VTC, navigating all the feelings that they were navigating, still had the ability and the capacity to be fully present for this person lying on the sidewalk that was in a bad way. And even doing so, there were all these thoughts going through this person's mind, should I get someone to come and help me? Should I call an ambulance? Should I do this? Should I do that? And still had the presence of mind to just be there and really, really be present with this individual. And eventually, our member came back in and really noticed right away, what is it that I was thinking as I was walking out the door? I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to be stretched. I wanted to feel something different. Well, and so it is. But the really neat thing, this person noticed that that's what was happening. This person noticed that thoughts really are things. And sometimes it happens in an instant like that. Sometimes it takes a while for those seeds to be cultivated and to germinate and to turn into something that you can then harvest. But this was such an incredible teachable moment. And then what was so beautiful was that this individual shared with the rest of the group that was here what had just happened. And so everybody got a chance to hear, got a chance to witness, got a chance to hold both individuals in love, in consciousness. And when we parted, there was already one person in the group who came up to me and shared this. But when we parted, what really, really struck me was, that's why we do what we do. We come together to remember that there is only one thing going on. Call it whatever it is that you want to call it, but ultimately, we are all that. And so it's up to us to remember that that's who and what we are. It's up to us to choose how much of that allness, that love, that creativity, that infinite potentiality we want to express as. And we can feel challenged, and we can still hold someone in consciousness and in love. We cannot know, we can sort of feel like, I don't know what it is I should be doing. Should I be calling someone? Should I be calling an ambulance? And still have the presence of mind to be with this individual and know that not only can I hold them in love, but they are love expressing. This is why we do what we do. And it was just such a profound moment of connection for our community, for being able to support someone, and for just hearing how new thought teachings, and if you really practice, can make a difference in your life and then how you relate to others. So for those Unity fans who are here today, I have a quote by Myrtle Fillmore. "Show me the seeds you sow and the thoughts you think, and I can foretell the manner of your harvest, for it is the same in your mind world or in the soil world." So just like sowing the seeds for a garden, we're sowing the seeds of our mind with our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings, even our intentions, and our awareness. And the more aware we become that we are more powerful, we are bigger, we are more resilient, we are more creative than the thoughts we think, than the feelings that we have, than the experiences that we've lived, than maybe the trauma that feels like it's trapped in our body. When we really realize that we are so much more powerful and capable than all of that, that's when life starts to change. And not just for us, because then we recognize and we see that in others as well. And that's how our world starts to change. But it starts with us, right? So my question today, which is the title of my talk, is what are you harvesting? And so I have this collection of pictures here because it also made me think of not just what are you harvesting, but going back to how are you harvesting or how are you cultivating? Because if you look at this little girl with, I don't know, currants maybe on the left-hand side, doesn't she look delighted with her little harvest? Like, how happy is she, right? And doesn't it just make you feel happy? Well, it makes you feel happy and joyful because that joy and happiness already resides in you, right? She's not like giving it to you. She's not making it happen. Just all of a sudden, we're vibrating on that same frequency as she is, right? Then there are the little boys on the right-hand side. And to me, when I saw those, they just looked like they were being very discerning about the apples that they were picking and that they were sharing with each other, right? Not just any old apples, but this one and this one, you know, I've got it covered. And then, now I don't know my farm equipment. Is that a combine? Okay, thank you. So that combine, this is the how, right? The combine just goes and picks up everything in its path, right? Whether it's the good wheat or the bad wheat or whatever it is that it's combining, it just gets everything, right? And so do we want to harvest everything? Not always. But the more intentional we are with the sowing of our seeds, with the germinating, with the cultivating, with the loving up of whatever it is that we're sowing, we could actually get to the point where when we're combining, we're actually gathering all the stuff that we want, right? We don't have to discard any of it. And then that bottom picture really was just sort of to fill in that little square there because there was nothing there. But, like, those are the seeds, right? And so the more we notice, the more we're aware of them, the more we love them, then the more we get to enjoy the harvest like that little girl and like those two little boys on the right there with the apples. So that's my question to you. What are you harvesting? You know, if you take a look at your life right now, are you living the life the way you want to live it? That's your harvest. And if you're not, then you got to take a look at the seeds that you've sown to get this harvest and maybe consider planting some other seeds, right? So back to our affirmation for the month. While sowing seeds of compassion, curiosity, and love, I cultivate an atmosphere of possibility, connection, and growth. An atmosphere in my mind, an atmosphere in my heart, an atmosphere that I carry around with me that vibrates at a certain frequency that then can help up-level those around me. That's what we all get to do every single moment of every single day. And so when we go to that song that we sang, which when I first heard it, I'm like, oh my God, John Denver and the Muppets, what? But then I looked through a few different versions and I found a hilarious Arlo Guthrie one, which I invite everybody to watch because he adds some of his own verses and then has this whole thing about Canada and the metric system in there. So funny. Anyway, inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. That speaks to intentionality and awareness, okay? Like we really need to focus on what is it that we are sowing? What is it that we're planting? Pulling weeds and picking stones, we are made of dreams and bones. We got to tend to our garden. Yeah, we can leave it, for the asphalt and for the concrete and whatever sort of thing. But if we tend and we pull out the weeds as they're coming up, then all of that amazing bounty that is coming up, that is there, that is completely possible, we get to reap that harvest down the road. Grain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's chain, till my body and my brain tell the music of the land. I love this line because this just sounds like everything is connected. The land, the seeds, the intention, the harvesting, cycle of life, but interconnectivity, or as I like to say, divine intertwinglement in action. And so it just speaks to the oneness and the allness, that we are all this one incredible, amazing, creative, dynamic, energetic flow expressing as love. So I want to leave you with a funny quote. It's by Bill Meyer, who was a baseball player and manager, and it said on the internet, he holds the dubious distinction of having played with, then managed, two of the worst teams in the history of Major League Baseball. Okay, so here's his quote. Every thought is a seed. If you plant crab apples, don't count on harvesting golden delicious. Thank you, and so it is.